This man here faced charges of rape. Connor Matthew Walker, age 20, accused of raping 2-year-old January 8th, 2024 in Ohio. God bless the family.
You or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence or the threat of domestic violence, there is help available. You can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at the number you see on your screen.
Good afternoon. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now, coming to you from our digital desk. We're going to be taking you to Parma Heights here momentarily. As you can see, they're getting ready for a news conference. Extremely disturbing allegations against an in-home daycare, and more specifically, a 20-year-old Connor Matthew Walker accused of rape within that at-home daycare. Let's take you live now to the news conference in Parma Heights.
On the arrest that occurred Friday, so we felt this was the easiest way to do it. With me, I have Safety Director Steve Scharschmidt, Mayor Marie Gallo, and then this is our Chief of Police, Tanya Zach. I will do my best to answer questions at the end for you guys, but please understand this is an ongoing and open investigation, so the answers I'm able to provide may be very limited, but we will do our best to get you what we can. On Friday, January 5th, 2024, our Detective Bureau received notification from the FBI Cleveland's field office of an incident that occurred at an in-home daycare on Big Creek Parkway here in Parma Heights. In working with them, we ended up making an arrest later that afternoon of Connor Walker. He is a 20-year-old male who has an address in Rocky River. He is accused of sexually assaulting a 2-year-old victim at that residence. The daycare facility on Big Creek is a licensed facility, and he lived part-time at that residence where the daycare was held during the day. Based on our investigation to this point, it appears the daycare operator had no knowledge of what was going on, and they have been cooperating with us and working through all of this. On January 8th, he was arraigned, Mr. Walker was arraigned in Parma Municipal Court on 1 count of rape and 3 counts of gross sexual imposition. He was issued a $500,000 cash bond. His case was bound over to the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court, where it will be presented to the grand jury at a later date. That bond did remain with him. That $500,000 bond remained the same. And as of a little earlier this afternoon, he is still in custody down in Cuyahoga County. The Parma Heights Police Department has worked since Friday afternoon when we got this information. Through the weekend, we've devoted resources to it. We have people who are still working on it now, and it will continue to be worked on until we have sifted through all the evidence that's been found. At this point, we've identified 1 victim. Obviously, in these investigations, there's always the potential for other victims, but as of right now, we've identified that 1. We have reached out to all the families that we were made aware that attended that daycare, and detectives have spoken with those families. If throughout the course of our investigation we find other victims, we will reach out to them and speak with them and handle the prosecution for them on their end. I believe that's all we have at this point. If you guys have any questions, we will open it up. But again, I want to tell you guys right off the bat, it is an open investigation. I will do my best to answer them, but there's some things I can and can't share.
You said the daycare owner had no knowledge, but is she culpable since it's her daycare and a child was allowed to sleep overnight?
So there's different licensing and things that a daycare owner has to work through, and the people responsible for those licenses are working through that with her.
Department of Family Services?
Correct, and she was licensed through the city here, and we're working through that as well.
Why did he live there part-time?
He's a family friend of the people that own the residence, and they were allowing him to stay there part-time.
My name's Molly. I'm with Cleveland.com. I just want to say thanks, first of all, for taking the time to talk with us. I'm just wondering if you can share anything more about the victim's condition. Is anything else you can share about them?
She's a juvenile victim, so we're not going to share much about her. We've spoken with Mom and Dad, and we're making sure that she gets whatever resources she needs. We're happy to facilitate any of that for them.
Was she taken to a hospital or anything like that?
That's stuff that I can't share with you.
Do you all, she said it happened when she was 2. What is her age now?
She's 3 years old now.
3 years old.
How many families or how many children attended this daycare?
I believe there's about 10 different families that I've spoken to that I know had kids at the daycare at one point. Not all of them currently had kids there. I've also spoken to families that previously used that daycare.
They said the incident from the court dockets happened on October 1st. When was it actually reported?
So we became aware of the information Friday, which is the same day we made an arrest.
And what do you think about what took so long for that to be reported?
As far as I'm aware, once any law enforcement agency was made aware of it, we started to act on it immediately. I can only speak to what we did, and as far as when we got the information is when we acted on it that day.
So the person who reported it to the FBI? Is that correct?
We got the tip from the FBI, so anything about how they received that information, I'm going to defer to them to speak with you guys about.
How many pictures and videos of this child were on his phone?
So that's going to be something we're going to use for evidentiary value. I don't want to share those exact numbers with you because we're going to use that as we go forward in the court process.
Can you say whether or not there were any other pictures of other children on his phone?
I don't know. I haven't viewed myself. I viewed pictures of the victim here in Parma Heights, and we're handling that part. As we go through the phone and continue to look at evidence, if there are other victims, we will reach out to them and make sure that they work with us and we can help them get resources they need.
Is the daycare still open? Is it still working?
To my knowledge, they were closed yesterday. I can't speak for today.
Was this just a one-time thing, or was this continual abuse?
As far as we are aware, we have one victim and one incident. Again, as we go forward, if there's more, we'll handle those as they come up.
Is there a specific way you want people to reach out in case something comes up?
If people want to reach out to me, I think my number's out there for the most part. You can call up to Parma Heights and ask for Detective Taylor, and I'll happily speak with anybody who has information about it or if their kids went there and they have questions.
Are you all releasing the exact address of that daycare center?
So I'm not going to provide the address for you guys because at this point it's part of the investigation, and I still have victims and witnesses and things that I'd like to speak to about it.
Is there any evidence of a previous criminal history with Mr. Walker in relation to child sex crime charges?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Can you share any more about the arrest? Sorry if you already said it, but where was he arrested and everything like that?
We arrested him from the FBI's field office.
How did the FBI become aware of this?
I'm going to defer to them for that one. I know the information we have is that we received a phone call from the FBI and started working in conjunction with them quickly Friday afternoon.
Has he spoken, confessed, anything like that about what was found on his phone?
There have been conversations had with them, and we'll use those as we go forward in the court process and discovery with courts and things like that.
What additional charges do you may permit? I know you say there'll be additional charges that you guys may see coming down the line.
So we'll present it to the Cuyahoga County Grand Jury in conjunction with the prosecutor's office, and anything that the prosecutors or the grand jury feels need to be added can be added at that point, and then anything that the FBI decides on their end they can look at for other charges.
Do the people who operate the daycare, do they own any other businesses or daycares in the area?
Not to my knowledge, but I can't tell you for a fact yes or no.
Is there evidence that he shared any of these photos or videos with anyone else from his cell phone or from his computer?
Not that I'm aware of. Again, and like I said, it's pretty limited at this point to what I can share. I'm aware of the one incident that occurred here in Parma Heights, which is what we began to investigate on Friday, and moving forward from there, if other things pop up, as we come across them, we will handle them, and if we can, we'll let you guys know.
How long has the victim been attending that daycare?
You know, off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Can you tell us how horrific is this? I mean, our viewers and the public are just disturbed.
It is disturbing, and it's a horrific event that we wish we could stop from ever happening anywhere. Kids are something that we want to make sure we protect. There's kids who can speak for themselves and kids who can't, and we're going to be the voice for those kids, all of them. It is something that definitely hits home with everybody here, and I think that's shown through the fact that they worked through the weekend to make sure we got to the point we are now.
Are you able to say whether the parents knew it had happened, before getting in touch with them or making an arrest? Like, how did the parents find out this had happened?
The parents have been fully cooperating with us, and I have no reason to believe they knew anything before we made contact with them. All right, we good? Anybody else? Okay, hopefully that answered some of you guys' questions. I appreciate you guys coming. My business card's on the bottom of that press release from yesterday. On the back is his booking photo, and then anybody here who wants a digital copy of the photo, I'll grab a list of email addresses before I go, and I can get that sent today.
Dan DeRose with 19 News. Just want to make sure there's no further questions as they do wrap up here. You're seeing on your screen a picture of the alleged suspect here that's been taken into custody. He's been arraigned and is being held in the Cuyahoga County Court on a $500,000 bond. This is 20-year-old Connor Matthew Walker. He was living in the home of this in-home daycare on a part-time basis where, as you heard the detective say, he's a family friend that was allowed to stay in the house part-time. And I think the detective did a very good job of explaining what he could here. Parma Heights Police Department was initially called Friday by the FBI. He was asked, well, how did the FBI find out about this? And that's a very legitimate question. Was it the daycare owner? Did the daycare owner call the FBI? It doesn't sound like the family of the 2-year-old called the FBI, but somehow the FBI got involved in this. The detective with Parma Heights saying, hey, that's on the FBI to release how they were notified. Again, really good work there by that detective with Parma Heights. Giving us what information he can. The disturbing facts of this, it appears that there were pictures, at least pictures, if not video. We're going to stick with pictures right now of this alleged attack on the 2-year-old little girl on the suspect's, the defendant's phone, and that is why he is now facing 1 count of rape. That's a felony in the first degree, and 3 counts of gross sexual imposition, a felony of the 3rd degree. It has been bonded over. A Cuyahoga County grand jury will be reviewing this, seeing if there are additional charges facing this young man. Just 20 years of age, accused now of rape of a 2-year-old little girl at an in-home Parma daycare. It appears that child was staying overnight. And that's potentially when this just horrific allegation took place. Not giving out the name of the daycare. You heard the detective say there are still other witnesses and family members, families that they want to talk to. As you can imagine, families would be quick to clam up, not give information as soon as this gets out. So again, the detective doing a nice job there. As you heard, our senior New Yorker was in that news conference. She will have an update on this. If there's any more information that we can get out of the FBI, how they were tipped off and all of this, how it came to light, we'll have all of the news and updates on this.
You or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence or the threat of domestic violence, there is help available. You can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at the number you see on your screen.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Please subscribe.